Have you ever felt drained or frustrated by certain family members, even though they should be the people you turn to for support? As we age, we start to value our peace and emotional well-being more than ever before. And while family is supposed to be a source of love and comfort, certain relatives can unknowingly, or knowingly, disrupt the tranquility you've worked so hard to create. In this video, we're going to explore 5 types of relatives you should consider keeping your distance from, especially the 5th type, as you embrace the later years of life with joy and peace. By the end of this video, you'll discover why it's essential to set boundaries with these individuals, and how doing so can free you to enjoy your golden years without unnecessary stress or negativity. If you've ever wondered how to protect your emotional health in your later years, how to navigate those difficult family dynamics, or why certain relationships drain your energy, this video will provide the answers. You'll learn practical steps to protect your peace, build stronger boundaries, and make your later years truly fulfilling. So stick around until the end. Your well-being and emotional peace are worth it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let's dive into the 5 types of relatives to keep your distance from. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. 1. The constant complainer or pessimist. In every family, no matter how loving or supportive it may be, there often exists that one person who can never seem to find the silver lining, no matter the situation. It's as though they are stuck in an endless loop of negativity, and no matter how much goodness or beauty surrounds them, they just can't seem to look beyond their clouded view of the world. The constant complainer or pessimist is someone who seems to approach life with an attitude that everything is inherently wrong or doomed to fail. Their words are often drenched in dissatisfaction, as if the very idea of happiness or peace is foreign to them. Whether it's a family gathering, a celebration, or even an ordinary get-together, they have an uncanny ability to cast a shadow over the entire room with their relentless pessimism. What makes this type of person even more draining is their inability to acknowledge the positive aspects of life. Rather than celebrating the small wins or the joys of the moment, they fixate on what went wrong or what could potentially go wrong. They are masters of exaggerating minor problems into major catastrophes, always imagining the worst-case scenario. It's exhausting because even when things are going well, they bring up an endless list of grievances, whether they be personal, social, or political. The joyful atmosphere that might have been created by others quickly dissolves as their complaints take center stage, forcing everyone else to either listen to or avoid the negativity. But what makes this person even harder to deal with is how they tend to bring up past problems that have already been resolved, resurrecting old grievances and reminding everyone of what they perceive as unresolved issues. It's as though they're living in a never-ending narrative of disappointment, where nothing is ever truly settled or at peace. They have a way of dwelling on these issues to the point that they begin to feel like fresh wounds, constantly reopening old emotional scars. It becomes impossible to feel hopeful when someone is constantly reminding you of what went wrong or might go wrong, or what has yet to be fixed. Their negative outlook can subtly infect the mood of everyone around them. Before long, it becomes difficult to enjoy even the simplest pleasures in life, as their pessimism overshadows the smallest of joys. This is especially true for older adults, who may already be navigating the complexities of aging, health issues, and the transitions that come with getting older. The later years of life are often seen as a time to slow down, reflect, and enjoy the fruits of a life well lived. After decades of hard work, personal sacrifice, and overcoming countless challenges, seniors deserve to enjoy a sense of peace and tranquility. These should be the years when one can enjoy life without the heavy burden of past struggles or present anxieties weighing down every day. But when faced with a constant barrage of negativity from a family member, that peace is shattered. It's as if the one thing that was supposed to offer comfort, these precious later years, is slowly drained away by the constant emotional demands of someone who can't seem to stop complaining. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. I can't help but feel for those in their golden years, as they often have enough to contend with in terms of health and life changes. Aging itself brings with it feelings of vulnerability, sadness, and reflection, but it can also bring moments of great joy. Yet, when surrounded by negativity, it becomes harder to appreciate the present moment. Instead of focusing on the things that matter, like love, family, health, or simply the beauty of a quiet day, there's an ever-present undercurrent of stress, anxiety, and sadness. The constant complainer's negativity becomes like a weight that makes it harder to appreciate the things that matter. They may not even realize how much of an emotional toll their behavior has on others, but I've seen firsthand how it can turn what should be a calm, peaceful existence into a daily struggle for emotional stability. It's no secret that research supports the idea that positive thinking can have a profound impact on our health and well-being, especially as we age. Studies have shown that older adults who maintain a positive outlook on life tend to experience better physical health, stronger immune systems, and greater mental resilience. Positive thinking is associated with a more fulfilling, higher quality of life, as it reduces the detrimental effects of stress and boosts emotional well-being. Seniors who focus on gratitude and joy, even in the face of adversity, tend to live longer, happier lives. Conversely, exposure to chronic negativity can harm not only your emotional state but also your physical health. It's a vicious cycle, where the more negativity one is exposed to, the more stress and anxiety one experiences, and this can exacerbate existing health problems. Chronic negativity, like a slow, steady leak, can drain the vitality and energy of those around them. It may start subtly, but before long, it wears down the ability to enjoy the present moment. Life's simple pleasures, whether it's a laugh with a friend, a shared meal with family, or a quiet evening, become harder to savor when you're constantly surrounded by someone who insists on focusing on what's wrong with everything. The emotional toll of negativity can be so heavy that it makes it difficult to appreciate even the most peaceful moments. It can rob you of the ability to feel joy in things you once found fulfilling. But here's the thing, as frustrating as it can be, it's important to recognize that the complainer's negativity often stems from their internal struggles. Perhaps they feel overwhelmed by life, unsure of how to navigate their disappointments or fears. Maybe they've been stuck in their emotional turmoil for so long that they can't see beyond it. They may feel trapped in their pain, unable to recognize the positive aspects of life that others can appreciate. I don't think it's about malice. Often, it's about a person's inability to break free from the weight of their discontent. It's a sad reality for many people that they become so entrenched in their dissatisfaction that they cannot imagine a world where things could be better. And while that is a reality worth acknowledging, it doesn't make the emotional burden they place on others any less significant. But here's the hard truth. No matter how much empathy we have for them, we also have to protect our peace. We have every right to preserve our emotional health, especially when we are constantly being weighed down by negativity. It's not selfish to take steps to create boundaries with this type of person. In fact, it's an essential act of self-care. We can't afford to let someone else's negativity seep into our emotional state, especially when we've worked so hard to find peace and joy in our lives. I've come to realize that sometimes, creating distance is the only way to preserve your mental well-being. That doesn't mean we don't care about them. It just means we are caring for ourselves first. One way to manage this relationship is to gently redirect the conversation away from negativity. Instead of engaging in their complaints, try to steer the discussion toward positive or uplifting topics. It doesn't have to be confrontational or dismissive. Simple, calm statements like, "I'm focusing on gratitude these days," can help create a shift without offending. If their negativity continues, it's okay to politely limit your time with them. You don't have to spend every moment with someone who constantly brings you down. It's okay to say, "I need some time to focus on my peace," and step back when necessary. Life is too short, especially as we get older, to spend it constantly weighed down by someone else's negativity. You've earned the right to enjoy your time, to find joy in the little moments, and to preserve your emotional health. It's not about rejecting the complainer. It's about choosing to protect your peace and living the later years of your life with the joy, love, and calm that you truly deserve. Remember, prioritizing your emotional well-being is not selfish. It's a necessary step in making sure you live these years fully, with all the positivity and peace that life has to offer. 2. The manipulator who picks at your flaws. Family, at its core, should be a source of love, acceptance, and security. It is supposed to be where we find refuge, where we are allowed to be ourselves without fear of judgment or rejection. As we grow older and evolve into the people we are meant to be, the family should ideally become the place where we are celebrated for the wisdom we have gained, the battles we've fought, and the person we've become. However, the unfortunate truth is that for some, family becomes a battleground, where subtle manipulations and critical words are wielded under the guise of concern, advice, or honesty. These relatives exploit the very familiarity that should be a source of comfort, using it as an opportunity to criticize and manipulate, often leaving us feeling belittled and small instead of valued and appreciated. At times, the manipulator can seem to be offering helpful or honest insights, presenting themselves as someone who is merely trying to guide or improve us. Yet, the harshness and underlying negativity in their words often do nothing but chip away at our confidence. What might be framed as constructive criticism is, in reality, a weapon used to undermine our self-esteem, feeding our insecurities and leaving us questioning our worth. When this comes from a family member, it feels like a deeper betrayal, because we expect our loved ones to nurture and protect us, not tear us down. The pain is even more acute when we're older and have already endured so much: life struggles, losses, and lessons. After all these years of surviving, learning, and evolving, we should be surrounded by people who cherish our growth, not by those who attempt to diminish it with thoughtless or manipulative remarks. These critical family members often have a way of zeroing in on our vulnerabilities, pinpointing the very things we may already struggle with, and using them to exert control or validation. They may say things like, "I'm just trying to help you," or "I only want the best for you," but underneath those words, there's a clear intention to belittle or manipulate. It's as if they gain a sense of power or importance by highlighting our weaknesses, leaving us to feel inferior. This manipulation can take many forms, from passive-aggressive comments to overtly judgmental behavior, but it always leaves the same sting. The more it happens, the more it erodes our sense of self-worth, until we begin questioning our decisions, doubting our abilities, and feeling emotionally drained. As we enter our later years, we should be basking in the peace and contentment that comes from a lifetime of hard-earned wisdom. This is the time to enjoy the freedom that comes from accepting ourselves fully, flaws and all. Yet, when a family member continues to criticize, manipulate, or undermine us, it feels like an assault on the very peace we fought so hard to achieve. It's not just the words themselves that hurt, but the emotional toll they take. Constant criticism creates an atmosphere of tension and self-doubt, forcing us to question everything we do. We might find ourselves holding back, unsure of whether to speak our truth for fear of being judged, ridiculed, or helped in a way that feels demeaning rather than supportive. What's worse is that these manipulative relatives can make us feel like we're never good enough, no matter how hard we try or how much we've accomplished. It's a heavy emotional burden to bear, and it can seriously affect our mental well-being. Criticism, particularly when it's persistent, can wear us down. Over time, we may start second-guessing ourselves, feeling hesitant to make decisions, or even to express our opinions. It's not just that we feel unappreciated. We begin to feel like we're constantly walking on eggshells, terrified of triggering more criticism or manipulation. The very relationships that should be the ones we can lean on for support and love become sources of stress and self-doubt. Family relationships should bring us comfort, but when they become a source of pain, the emotional toll is immeasurable. The constant back and forth of criticism can lead to a loss of confidence, a draining of joy, and an erosion of the sense of self we've worked so hard to cultivate. No one, especially not a family member, has the right to make us feel less than. No one should ever make us feel like we are not enough, or that we need to change in ways that make us uncomfortable or unhappy. And yet, when we're trapped in these toxic dynamics, It can feel like we're powerless to escape. It's essential to remember, though, that this manipulation is not a reflection of who we are. It is a reflection of the insecurities and unresolved issues of the person who is doing the manipulating. Their need to tear others down is not a sign of strength or wisdom. It is a sign of their deep-rooted fears and inadequacies. It is never about us. No matter how much they try to make us feel inferior, we must remind ourselves that we are worthy of love, respect, and acceptance just as we are. The manipulation is about them, not about our true value. How to create distance. Establishing distance from a critical or manipulative family member is one of the most empowering steps you can take to protect your mental and emotional well-being. It's a powerful act of self-respect and self-care. Setting boundaries with these family members is crucial, as it helps you reclaim control over your life and your happiness. Boundaries don't have to be aggressive or confrontational. They can be gentle but firm. When they attempt to criticize or manipulate, respond with neutrality, "Thank you for your input," and calmly steer the conversation in a different direction. Avoid engaging with topics that tend to trigger their criticisms or manipulative behavior. If the behavior persists, consider limiting interactions, particularly one-on-one situations where they feel empowered to tear you down. Sometimes, protecting yourself means creating physical or emotional distance to maintain your peace. Remember, you are in control of your life, and these later years should be a time of reflection, peace, and joy. You've lived through enough to know that you deserve love and respect, not criticism or manipulation. It's vital to surround yourself with people who uplift you, who celebrate your victories, and who cherish you for the person you are. Those who truly care about you won't seek to tear you down. They will stand by you, offering kindness and encouragement. You have the right to choose relationships that nurture you, not drain you. Let go of the toxic ones, no matter how difficult it may be, and make room for the people who bring positivity into your life. This is your time to embrace who you truly are and live with the peace and contentment you deserve. Life has given you enough lessons, and now it's time to surround yourself with love, light, and respect. Let go of the burdens of criticism, manipulation, and negativity. You are enough. You are worthy. And you deserve to live the rest of your life surrounded by those who recognize that truth. 3. The one who only shows up when they need help. In nearly every family, there's often that one relative who appears only when there's a crisis or some pressing need. This individual, whose presence is typically marked by the desperation or chaos of their personal life, seems to materialize only in moments of turmoil. Whether it's a financial emergency, an emotional breakdown, or a request for a favor, they tend to surface when they are at their lowest point, needing someone to lean on or to solve their problems. However, the moments when they reach out are infrequent, and those fleeting instances are almost always tethered to their need for something rather than any genuine desire to connect or check in on you. It is a pattern that, over time, begins to feel transactional rather than based on authentic, reciprocal care. As you reflect on the relationship, it becomes hard not to feel like you are merely a resource, a lifeline to be reached for when their world falls apart, rather than a beloved family member whose well-being is considered. As a senior, having spent decades fostering relationships, giving freely to others, and pouring time, energy, and love into family and friendships, the later years of life bring with them a clearer understanding of the importance of mutual respect and shared effort in relationships. These years are precious. Time becomes more valuable, and the desire for a sense of balance, harmony, and emotional nourishment becomes all the more essential. We've given so much of ourselves over the years, to family, work, and others, and we have earned the right to prioritize relationships that offer us not just comfort, but a sense of value and mutual care. After years of being the one to give, there is a natural yearning to experience truly reciprocal connections, where love and support are not one-sided but shared freely. Aging is a time of reflecting on what truly matters, and that is often rooted in the bonds that lift us, not those that drain us. When you have a relative who only appears when they are in need, it disrupts the natural flow of balance and harmony that we crave. At a time when you should be cherishing relationships that are supportive and fulfilling, this one-sided connection can be emotionally exhausting. It's painful to feel like your worth is solely measured by what you can offer in terms of financial help, emotional labor, or favors. Their presence feels like a demand, not a delight, and over time, it erodes the joy you once found in the family dynamic. What begins as a simple request for help can quickly morph into a regular, burdensome expectation, and eventually, you are left questioning, am I valued for who I am, or only for what I can do for them? The emotional toll can be immense, and it leaves you wondering whether any of your family relationships are rooted in genuine care and love. These relatives often assume that their needs take priority over yours, believing that your ability to provide is infinite while overlooking the fact that you, too, are only human. As we grow older, the resources available to us, energy, time, patience, and even finances, are not as abundant as they once were. We find ourselves managing our resources more carefully, focusing on our health, well-being, and security, especially in retirement. Many seniors live on a fixed income, budgeting carefully to maintain their comfort and peace of mind. When someone constantly asks for assistance without ever offering anything in return, it feels like a violation of that delicate balance. Over time, you may experience feelings of frustration, resentment, and even guilt for not being able to provide more. You may wonder if you are being too harsh or selfish, but in truth, you are only seeking the respect and balance you deserve after a lifetime of giving. The burden of being constantly needed without reciprocation can lead to emotional burnout. It's hard not to feel used, as though you are only as valuable as your last favor or financial assistance. This feeling is often exacerbated by the way these relatives tend to approach you, usually in times of crisis or distress when they are seeking something. It can become emotionally draining to know that every phone call or visit is likely going to be another request for help. You may feel a sense of dread when their name pops up on your phone, a sick feeling in your stomach as you brace yourself for another demand. Even if you are a naturally compassionate person, the constant imbalance can wear you down, making you question whether they genuinely care about you or if you are simply a tool in their time of need. It's difficult to maintain a sense of peace when every interaction feels like it's steeped in obligation rather than a mutual exchange of love and support. This kind of relationship can be deeply unsettling. It disrupts the tranquility and emotional balance that should be a part of close family connections. You may feel guilty for setting boundaries, as though you are abandoning someone in their time of need, but at the same time, you may be equally exhausted by the endless cycle of saying yes when you should be saying no. Over time, this imbalance erodes trust and warmth in the relationship, replacing them with resentment and a sense of emotional depletion. If you keep giving without receiving anything in return, it can eventually sour even the fondest memories of what used to be a caring and close relationship. What should be a bond based on love, shared memories, and support becomes, instead, a source of emotional stress and discomfort. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. To protect your emotional health and maintain the quality of your relationships, it's essential to set clear boundaries with relatives who only show up when they need something. This is not about rejecting them, but about creating space to preserve your peace of mind and to protect the emotional energy that remains. Reflecting on what you are able and willing to offer is the first step in reclaiming your emotional well-being. It's okay to say no, even when it feels difficult. You have the right to set limits on what you can give, and it's not selfish to do so. It's an act of self-respect. You've spent a lifetime giving to others, and you deserve to safeguard the peace and comfort you've earned. When this relative reaches out yet again, consider responding with kindness but with firm limits. You can express empathy without overextending yourself. For example, you might say, "I'm not in a position to help right now," or "I've made other commitments that I need to focus on." This way, you establish your boundaries while still showing that you care. At the same time, it might be helpful to gently steer them toward other avenues of support. Encourage them to seek assistance elsewhere, whether through other family members, community resources, or self-sufficiency. This doesn't mean you are abandoning them. It means you are helping them build the resilience and independence they may have neglected over time. Many people who repeatedly ask for help do so out of habit, not necessity. A gentle nudge to explore alternative solutions can help them realize they are capable of managing their own needs without relying so heavily on you. Creating distance in these situations isn't about withdrawing love. It's about ensuring that your remaining years are filled with fulfilling, healthy, and emotionally enriching relationships. It's about preserving your well-being so that you can enjoy a life filled with mutual love and support, rather than constant stress and obligation. Setting boundaries with someone who only contacts you in times of need is not an act of selfishness, but one of self-care, a way to honor your time, your energy, and your emotional health. In doing so, you're not only respecting yourself, but also setting the tone for the kind of relationships you wish to have in the future. Relationships that bring you joy, peace, and mutual respect. As we age, it becomes more important than ever to nurture relationships that are based on understanding, kindness, and equality. You've spent a lifetime loving and supporting others. Now, it's time to ensure that the relationships you hold dear are nurturing and enriching. By setting boundaries, you allow yourself to enjoy the love and care you've earned, and you invite the possibility of more fulfilling, balanced connections that will bring joy and comfort into your life. This is one of the greatest gifts you can give to yourself as you move into the later years of life, honoring your own needs and recognizing the value of relationships that sustain, rather than deplete, your energy. 4. The envious relative. Jealousy, a powerful and often destructive emotion, is especially complex when it emerges within families, where love, compassion, and support should form the bedrock of every relationship. However, the presence of envy from a relative, whether it is expressed subtly or overtly, can strike at the very core of your emotional well-being. It can feel like an emotional betrayal from someone who should be your biggest ally. When a family member reacts negatively to your happiness, your achievements, or even your peace of mind, it can feel as though they're undermining not just the present moment, but also everything you've worked so hard for. Their jealousy often manifests in ways that are so quietly insidious that it can be difficult to confront. Yet, the resentment that lies beneath their surface is unmistakable. You might hear backhanded compliments that sting more than words of genuine praise, passive-aggressive remarks that sour the air, or worst of all, the downplaying of your accomplishments that serves to minimize the effort, dedication, and perseverance that went into achieving them. It feels as though the very harmony you've worked to create in your later years is being threatened by this negativity. Such envy often appears in small but painful ways. A seemingly innocent comment that belittles your achievements, a questioning or even dismissive look when you share your good news, or worse, an unwillingness to celebrate moments that are deeply meaningful to you. These moments, when they should be filled with joy and pride, instead become occasions marked by tension and emotional discomfort. For seniors, this behavior can be especially disheartening. After years of experiencing the highs and lows of life, many people reach a point in their later years where peace and contentment take on a much greater value. Retirement often marks a time when you can finally step back and reflect on the life you've lived, the hard work you've put in, and the relationships you've nurtured. The pursuit of simplicity, tranquility, and family becomes more prominent, and there is a greater appreciation for the little pleasures that make life meaningful. Things like savoring a quiet afternoon, spending time with loved ones, and simply enjoying the fruits of your labor. But when a family member responds to your peaceful existence with jealousy, it feels like an attack on the very foundation of everything you've worked to create. It's isolating. It's like being in a room full of people, yet somehow feeling completely alone. This relative, who should ideally be there to share in your joy, instead creates an emotional wall between you both, preventing any real connection. Their inability, or perhaps unwillingness, to share in your happiness leaves you questioning whether they even see the value of the peace you've built. This kind of envy can truly cast a long, dark shadow over the years that should be your most treasured. What should be moments of celebration and joy become riddled with tension and sadness. You begin to second-guess your right to share your happiness because their jealousy makes it feel inappropriate, or even wrong, to express your joy. Envy from a family member can take many forms, but often, it is the subtle moments that cause the most pain. For instance, when you share personal milestones or achievements, they may simply refuse to acknowledge them, leaving you feeling as though your hard work and success don't matter. Or perhaps they make an underhanded comment that's disguised as honest feedback, but underneath it is the unmistakable intention to diminish your pride. They might imply that your success was nothing more than a stroke of luck, downplaying the years of effort, sacrifice, and sometimes even personal sacrifice you made to get to where you are. This dismissive attitude towards your achievements can be devastating. It undermines the years of struggle and triumph, and it leaves you questioning whether the relationship is as supportive as it should be. These subtle attacks on your sense of pride are designed to chip away at your confidence and happiness. Over time, it can begin to feel exhausting. You may find yourself holding back good news, reluctant to share your joy for fear of receiving negative or passive-aggressive responses. Worse, you might even start to feel guilty about the blessings in your life, as if you don't deserve the success and happiness you've worked so hard to achieve. But let's pause here and reflect. It's crucial to understand that jealousy often stems from a deep place of insecurity. When someone sees your contentment, your sense of peace, or your accomplishments, it can act as a painful reminder of what they feel is lacking in their own lives. It could be that they long for the financial security you have, the stable relationships you've built, or the inner peace that comes from years of personal growth and self-reflection. These feelings of inadequacy can manifest as jealousy and resentment. While you can't control the emotions of others, and it's certainly not your responsibility to fix their emotional state, having an understanding of the root of their behavior can offer some perspective. That said, you mustn't allow their struggles or insecurities to undermine your happiness. You are under no obligation to shrink or hide your success simply because it makes someone else uncomfortable. It is empowering to recognize that you deserve your happiness and peace. No one else's insecurities should dictate how you live your life. In the face of this kind of negativity, creating emotional distance from the envious relative is a vital act of self-care. It's not about punishing them. Rather, it's about protecting your peace and well-being. You've worked hard to cultivate a life of joy and contentment, and it's essential to honor that. When dealing with this type of relative, consider carefully how much you choose to share about your personal life, particularly your successes. You don't have to completely withhold your happiness, but you do have the option to keep certain aspects of your life private if you find that sharing them only seems to provoke resentment. You have the right to keep your peace sacred, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for the blessings in your life. Limiting one-on-one interactions with this person can be an effective strategy. These moments, when your achievements and contentment might stir jealousy, can be minimized if you choose to spend more time in group settings. In group settings, conversations tend to remain light and neutral, which can help you avoid confrontations that arise from envy. If you do find yourself in a situation where their envy escalates into direct criticism or worse, cruel remarks disguised as advice, it's important to calmly set boundaries. You don't need to justify your achievements or explain your happiness, but you can stand firm in your truth. For instance, saying something like, "I'm proud of what I've worked for," or "I find joy in the simplicity of life," reaffirms your right to feel happy and proud, without being dragged into their negativity. In cases where their behavior continues to be hurtful or toxic, it may be necessary to take a step back from the relationship entirely. Stepping away doesn't mean you're punishing them. It means you're choosing to protect your mental and emotional health. Life is too short to invest your energy in people who refuse to support you. As you move into this chapter of your life, remember that you've earned the peace, joy, and stability you now enjoy. The freedom to live without the burden of judgment or jealousy is yours to claim. Don't allow anyone to diminish that joy. Instead, create space for people who genuinely uplift you, those who celebrate your victories, no matter how big or small. Surround yourself with the love, respect, and admiration you deserve. In this stage of life, your achievements are more than just milestones. They are the result of a lifetime of resilience, growth, and perseverance. And you deserve to bask in them fully, without guilt. Embrace the serenity that comes from years of hard work, reflection, and growth. Cherish the relationships that honor your journey, and protect the peace you've so rightfully earned. 5. The one secretly in love with your spouse. As life unfolds, family dynamics can become intricate and emotionally complex. weaving together a tapestry of love, trust, and shared memories. Yet, few situations are as deeply unsettling as discovering that a relative secretly harbors romantic feelings for your spouse. The realization can feel like an emotional earthquake, shaking the very foundation of your relationship. It's a hidden, often unspoken issue, one that may never be directly acknowledged, but can nonetheless cause quiet ripples of disruption in the peace you've worked so hard to cultivate within your family and your marriage. This type of attraction can manifest in subtle ways, sometimes so insidiously that you might not even realize it until the signs are too numerous to ignore. It often begins with small, seemingly innocent gestures. Perhaps it's an unusual level of attentiveness or care towards your spouse, a lingering touch that feels more intimate than familial, or the constant positioning of themselves as a confidant, always ready to lend a listening ear or shoulder. These acts, although not explicitly romantic, can carry an undertone that undermines the emotional balance of your relationship. Occasionally, the signs are more overt: an affectionate tone of voice, glances that last a bit too long, or an unsolicited interference in moments that should be private between you and your partner. Whatever form it takes, the result is always the same: a growing tension that threatens the emotional safety you've carefully built together. As we grow older, the relationship with our spouse evolves into something far more than just a partnership. It becomes the anchor of our emotional life, the one place where we can find solace and reassurance amidst the chaos of the world. It's a bond that has withstood the tests of time, through decades of shared memories, challenges overcome, and the quiet comfort of knowing someone has been there with you through it all. The thought that a family member might disrupt that bond, intentionally or unintentionally, feels like a deep betrayal. This kind of disruption isn't just about the outward behavior. It's about the emotional damage it inflicts. The trust and intimacy you've built with your spouse is a sacred space, and when that space is encroached upon by someone who is supposed to be family, it feels like an invasion. It's as though a foreign element is creeping into your world, threatening to unsettle the peace you've earned. The later years of life should be about enjoying the deep connection you've developed with your partner. You've weathered the storms together and built a life full of shared memories, and now the focus shifts toward quiet, joyful moments. You don't want to be burdened with the weight of secret affection or divided loyalties. As the years go by, you come to realize that there is nothing more precious than the simplicity and security of a loving relationship. The prospect of someone, especially a family member, undermining that tranquility is not just uncomfortable, it's heart-wrenching. It's a loss, and it's a betrayal, even if that betrayal isn't intentional. It forces you into a painful emotional dilemma, and the very thought of having to confront it brings feelings of discomfort, confusion, and sometimes even self-doubt. In these later years, you expect peace, understanding, and the comfort that comes from having a partner with whom you've shared a lifetime. You want to reminisce about your beautiful journey together, not be bogged down by a hidden rivalry or an emotional tangle that has no place in the life you've cultivated. The idea that a relative, someone close to you, could harbor these feelings and cause tension in your home is almost unimaginable. It isn't just the discomfort of knowing, it's the emotional burden that comes with it. It becomes a weight on your heart, and the unspoken tension makes it difficult to breathe freely in your own home. Every conversation and every gesture feels clouded by this hidden agenda, and soon, it becomes harder to ignore. The peace you once took for granted begins to feel elusive, and you wonder how something so subtle could create such a profound emotional rift. In truth, this situation becomes more than just about the relative's actions. It becomes a test of trust and emotional security. Your marriage has weathered many storms, and for those of us who have shared decades of life with the same person, we know just how sacred and fragile that bond is. The thought that anyone, especially someone so close, could attempt to disrupt that unity is both painful and difficult to process. This kind of intrusion doesn't just come from a place of curiosity or misplaced affection. It's a challenge to the very core of the relationship you've worked so hard to preserve. It's an affront to the intimacy and peace that your marriage represents, and that intrusion, no matter how subtle, has consequences. How to create distance. Navigating this situation is no easy task. It requires a combination of clarity, tact, and, above all, a protective instinct toward your relationship. At first, it might seem as though the issue is too small to confront, but the longer it lingers, the more dangerous it becomes. The first step in protecting your relationship is to reduce the opportunities for your spouse and the relative to be alone together in any private setting. Family gatherings should be spaces where boundaries are respected, and personal moments should remain just that, personal. By gently steering conversations away from private matters and into public or group settings, you limit the chances of inappropriate behaviors or conversations occurring. If you notice any signs that the relative is becoming more emboldened, it's time to take a firmer stance. Having an open conversation with your spouse is another crucial step. This might be one of the hardest conversations you've had in your relationship, but it's necessary. Approach the topic with respect and understanding, not accusation. Be open about the discomfort you're feeling and the subtle signs you've noticed. This conversation can strengthen your bond, as it shows that you're both willing to confront challenges together and protect what you've built. It's not about blaming your spouse or creating tension between the two of you. Instead, it's about acknowledging the situation and addressing it as a team, reaffirming your commitment to one another and to the peace you've cultivated over the years. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. In more severe cases, where the relative's behavior has become increasingly overt, it may be necessary to directly address the issue with them. This conversation will undoubtedly be difficult, but it is an essential part of preserving your emotional safety. Set clear boundaries, kindly but firmly, outlining what is and isn't acceptable. While this may strain the family relationship, it's important to remember that protecting the sanctity of your marriage and your peace is more important than maintaining the status quo. In the end, you are doing what's necessary to protect the emotional health and stability of your relationship. Standing up for your marriage is not a selfish act. It's an act of respect for the bond you've shared and the future you both deserve. Final thoughts. As we age, we begin to understand the importance of maintaining clear emotional boundaries. We've spent a lifetime learning what truly matters, and the relationships we maintain in our later years should be nurturing and supportive. There is no room for subtle rivalries, hidden agendas, or unspoken tensions that threaten to undermine the emotional well-being we've worked so hard to protect. Setting boundaries doesn't mean cutting people out of your life. It means protecting your peace and ensuring that your relationships serve to uplift, not drain you. You are at a stage in life where every day should be filled with joy, warmth, and the comfort of knowing that the people around you honor the legacy of love, loyalty, and respect you've built over the years. Allowing anyone, no matter how close they are, to disrupt that peace is not just unfair to you. It's unfair to the person you've shared your life with. You've earned this peace, and it's worth protecting with everything you have. Surround yourself with those who honor and respect your journey. Let go of toxic dynamics and focus on nurturing relationships that bring you joy, comfort, and support. At this stage, it's not just about living. It's about living authentically, with dignity, and with a love that only comes from years of experience and shared memories. Don't let anyone steal that peace from you. As we wrap up today's discussion, take a moment to reflect on the journey we've explored together. Family dynamics, especially when they involve hidden feelings or unspoken tensions, can be challenging to navigate. But it's important to recognize that protecting the peace and sanctity of your relationship is a choice that honors the love, trust, and connection you've worked so hard to build. So, what have you learned today? What part of this topic stood out to you the most? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please comment below and share one thing you've learned from this video that you will bring into practice in your own life, whether it's about setting boundaries or protecting your most cherished relationships. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support means the world to us, and we can't wait to bring you more insightful content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.